Video game bang, video game bang, video game bang. Mega Brand. Live from the sack, it's the livest. In fact, I'm putting rhymes on this track to put my guys on the map. Updates, geek news, tech talk, and reviews. They can summarize it so you ain't gotta breeze through. Listen once and you're forever fans. And I'm not saying it because their theme song features Mega Ram, the ultimate source of all geek media. Other podcasts, they just don't match up. Need proof? You can check the archives and catch up. Stats off the chain, we have rearranged the game. It'll never be the same. Now it's time to feel the
bang. What is up, pizzas? Cory, Vincent here, video game bang. And the world is still fucked up. I'm here to tell you that, but we got PlayStation 5 news, and we got a good group of panelists here for Video Game Bang this week, starting with Lexie JRPG. What is going on, Lexie?
What's up? Nothing much, just chilling, still in quarantine, you know. Playing a few games out. Trying to keep my mentals chickens. That one football player said at the time.
You talking about Marshawn Lynch, my boss?
It wasn't him.
Yeah, it was Marshawn Lynch. Said you got to protect your chickens.
I mean, that was my favorite line, so that's the one I've been using. But yeah.
Also joining us, he's back, and with like craziness. This is the first person that I know that I encountered that went through and actually had COVID-19, and he lives to tell the tale. What's going on, Taylor Balbi? How you doing, man?
Doing really well now, as of 6 weeks ago after I recovered. Yeah, just playing video games, lots of Sea of Thieves still, always.
Wait, don't just skip to Sea of Thieves like what you've been doing. What was it like, man? Because it's scary. It was the number one thing everybody's talking about. How did you come to the realization that you had it? Do you even know where it came from? And how'd you deal with that whole thing?
Yeah, so it was weird. I literally woke up one day after feeling fine the night before, and I had several of the symptoms, and I was like, uh-oh. but they were like the really mild ones that kind of align with just the regular flu, so I wasn't super concerned yet. And then that night, so all within the same day, I ended up having pretty much every single symptom of COVID-19. And down to the respiratory issues, but not severe enough that I had to go to the hospital, but close to that. And I had that for 13 days. My fever was spiking to 103 and stuff, all day. It was just up and down all day. It was a sweaty 2 weeks.
Do you know where it came from? Did you ever find out?
No, not sure.
And then now you're just bulletproof. You just get to walk around among the world, or
no. So there's not enough evidence to suggest that I can catch it again. But there's also not enough evidence to suggest that I'm immune to it. So it's kind of in a weird gray area.
Well, definitely glad you made a full recovery. You are actually more lively now than I think I've ever seen you. So,
because I'm at home.
Yeah. And rounding out today's panel, she's got a lot of feelings on stuff and things. It was exciting to see the PlayStation 5 reveal kind of through the lens of Emma's Twitter. Emmaskies, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm always happy to get new game news.
You had your test for COVID-19, and you passed. You passed the test. Congratulations.
I passed. Unlike some people, I passed my test.
Whoa! Shots fired. Too soon. Too soon.
Damn.
I guess technically I failed my test. It was a negative result.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Mine came back and it said abnormal, and they still haven't answered me on what abnormal meant.
Was it like the test that you hear about where they jam a cotton swab up your nose and touch your brain, or how did it go?
You have to do it yourself.
What?
It's a self swab.
No,
you could have asked them to do it.
Oh no!
It's not fun.
So there's 2 tests because I've taken the test twice because I got tested again on Wednesday. The first one is the scariest. The second one was the worst. So first one is a very long swab, about this long, that they stick about 5 inches into your face, all the way to the very back until it's like it can't go any further.
You like feel it in your tear duct.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And then they would twist it 3 times and then pull it out. The one that Emma just had, which is the one that I also just had, I think it was much worse. Like it was much.
It wasn't as bad as, because I've had the flu test, which is essentially the same thing. And I don't know if the nurse who did it hated me, but like she full on like grabbed the back of my head and like impaled my face with this Q-tip. And I was like yelling and crying because I did not expect. She didn't tell me what she was doing. She was just like, flu test in your brain. But then so she leaves and she came back 10 minutes later and was like, we got an inconclusive sample. I have to do it again.
Oh, no.
And then charged my insurance for both of them, which I'm still upset about, but whatever. No, so the one that I had to do, they give you like, it's like the similar thing. It's like a long Q-tip. And then they tell you that like you have to put it up your nose. And they're like nice about it. They're like, you only have to go up to the cotton. It's not so bad. But like, and then you have to move it in like 10 big circles and then put the same swab into your other nostril, which just is gross. And then do the same thing. And it's like, it does a thing where like it activates your tear ducts. So you cry out of like whatever eye is on that side. It's not a comfortable experience. But it's not like, it's quick. It's not that bad.
So they made you do it yourself? Because I was there on Wednesday, the same place that you went. Yeah. And they asked me if I wanted to do it myself. And I said, I don't trust myself.
See, if they asked me, I would have made them do it because it would have been the same thing. Like, I didn't want to do it. But no, it was just, they handed it to me. And then they like hold the little tube and they're like, put it in the tube.
I did like that it didn't go all the way back.
Yeah, no, it wasn't nearly as deep as the flu test. But like, they make you keep your window rolled down the whole time. Or rolled up the whole time. So like you come in and they're like holding signs. They're like, keep your window rolled up. Don't fucking look at me. Don't breathe on me. You have to like put your ID to your window with like your phone that has your reservation time. And they're like, keep your window rolled up.
They have a right to be a little concerned.
Oh yeah.
Emma, you're going to love this, Emma. I pulled up to get the test. Like at the very end, there's a couple stages that you go through.
Yeah.
So at the very end, when they do the actual test, they hold up a sign that says, like, turn your engine off.
I think I did exactly what you're about to say.
So I drive an electric car. So I pull up and I put it in park and they're like holding the sign. And they keep holding the sign. And then she starts like shaking the sign at me. And I'm like, I can't. Like, it doesn't have an engine. And then she's like pointing at the sign. And I'm just like, what do you want? I can't. And then I roll the window down. And she's like, is this as far off as your car gets? And I'm like, yeah, I can only put it in park. Like, that's it.
I did not do it. Okay. I thought you were going to say what I did, which was far stupider, which is that I got to that sign where they said, turn your engine off. And I turned my engine off. And then I sat there and I was like, I have to have my engine on to roll my window down so that they can give me this swab. And I had to turn my car back on because I hadn't rolled my window down. And I was like, there's some order of operations here that I've messed up, and I don't know what it is.
Well,
but all in all, a very painless process.
Very good. Glad to have you healthy. Glad we have a full healthy cast here. There's a lot of news to talk to, and we just got an hour to do it. So we're going to go kind of across the board. As you guys know, we're dealing with 2 pandemics. We got the one, COVID-19, and then the other one is racism. And we're not down with racism. And, neither is...
A strong stance to take.
You know what? We don't like that thing. Racism's bad. It's a lot of people taking stands in their own different ways. One way that both Call of Duty and Apex Legends have decided to do it is by featuring prominent like load screens in the game that basically has their statement in support of Black Lives Matter. And another one that we saw was Rockstar Entertainment. They took their servers off for Red Dead Redemption and GTA for about 2 hours. How are we feeling about this? Is this... What
was the intent behind the 2-hour time window of shutting down? Were they just like, we're going to be quiet for 2 hours?
Yeah, they pulled out the statement of there's a lot more going on in the world. We're going to, shut this down so it's one less thing that can distract people and you can go out and learn and all that stuff. So that was like, yeah, I saw that one take more heat than the load screens because...
I could see that because that seems like why? Why 2 hours?
Yeah,
I'm
and
just confused on this arbitrary time. I mean,
wonder-
like, good for them,
wonder
I
if it's
guess.
the peak time for them that they took it down.
so
Maybe.
I did read in the article that morning they like it's not an insignificant thing for them just because I guess that morning they had like nearly 200,000 people online on those servers. So like this game is very active player base. Just went free on the Epic Game Store. We'll also, I guess we can talk about it a little bit now too, since we're on Rockstar. That's what kicked off the PlayStation 5 Future of Gaming reveal, which was a little disappointing.
Very. That was like, why are we starting with an old game that's been out for 5 years?
It's been out for a minute, and it just went free already on the Epic Game Store. Like, kind of stole the thunder, it feels like, when you get the free game. And everybody, like, honestly, if you don't... I think the reason it's going free all the time is because if you don't have the game, like, what's wrong with you? Like, this game, we all bought it at launch, and...
I've never played it, and I have it.
Yeah. So, I don't know what Rockstar really had in mind in doing that, but the load screens, I mean, they're cool. I guess it's definitely better than not doing anything, which we have seen companies not do anything. Like Valve, I believe, is one of the companies right now that
Shocking.
a little bit. You would have thought. I don't know. Why do you think Valve is quiet? Why do you say shocking?
Oh, I don't count on Valve for anything. Like, I don't count on Valve for anything that's not Steam, and I don't even count on them for Steam.
Certainly not on time.
Exactly. They'll put out their statement like 3 months from now.
I feel like a lot of
We're
people
taking a strong stand.
I also feel like a lot of people are like trying to take it back and take it in and figure out like what exactly or how they want to phrase it. But then again, there's those who are just like whatever. You know what I mean? I feel like some people might be like, we figure out just how I want to present this. You know what I mean? Like the issue to our fan base. That specific.
There's a time like I could see that maybe day 3, day 4, but this thing is like we're way too deep now to just be formulating what you're gonna say. Like,
yeah, at this point it's like up to their PR team. Like they should have had this out, but
it's interesting. What if they're taking the tactic that I know my own company did, which is we're just not going to advertise or anything like that. We're not going to put anything out there to, sort of add noise to what's going on. I think it's not like we weren't supporting Black Lives Matter, because we very actively were. In fact, people that used our product, normally there's a watermark of our company. We added a thing where you can toggle that and it just changes it to a Black Lives Matter like banner instead of our company name. So
was there things out there that you guys put that explained that was like a new feature and stuff? Or
eventually, eventually, but not when we first did it. We just put it out there. We were just like, we weren't trying to guide the narrative. We were just not trying to add noise to like social media and stuff by advertising, our own company for other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that too, and I've there's anybody who uses social media, you see there's a lot of influencers who are just hitting the pavement and going like, it's been they're going crazy, and then for people even like myself, admittedly, I don't post about it every single day. I watch it, I throw support out there and positive messages to people, and I've donated, and it's not, I don't know. There's different companies doing different things. Here's the one, like it kind of all tying it together here with Valve. Anyways, they have not said anything, but they have delayed their Summer Games event, because usually about now is when their games go all on discount. They never released a statement contextualizing the delay. Valve did not respond to requests or even comment on the matter. While it's kind of a no-no to stay silent, they've stayed vague. But there's another company out there which, on the opposite of that, many people haven't heard of, called itch.io, which is a marketplace for mainly indie developers. And what they started doing is they're one of the ones that just went full on, and they made a $5 bundle where you pay $5 and you get access to like 1,300 games.
I saw that.
It's like the Humble Bundle on steroids. They've raised over $4.6 million already for it. This is like the first time I didn't buy something because I was intimidated. Like I saw that, I was like, that's way too many freaking games. I don't even know what to do with that. It's too much. But they have big hitters on there. They have games like Celeste, like some really Oxenfree, like games you would have heard of if you follow the indie scene. So what's your guys' take so far? Are you finding this as a time like for make and break? Like, before the show, Emma was, chowing down on some Wendy's, but that's a company, quote unquote, that should have been canceled by now.
I know. I was like, you guys are talking about that. I was like, is this my last Baconator? What did I miss?
Do you guys take into account like how companies are responding to the current climate in, how you spend your money?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Examples of like people who are doing it right, in your opinion?
Ben and Jerry's.
All right, we're gonna start with the number one.
The top of the top. Ben and Jerry's is getting arrested at protests. Fuck white supremacy. Fuck all of you. Don't buy our goddamn ice cream. They don't give a shit.
Didn't they come out with a special ice cream flavor too, like in a week?
Yeah. I was like, if this didn't have nuts in it, or like pecans or whatever is in it, I'd be all over that. I'll buy it. I just won't eat it.
Yeah, no, I feel like companies that are being very outspoken about their support for Black Lives Matter definitely encourages me to, keep them in my mind when I'm like considering to purchase certain types of products like games and whatnot. But I'm not like faulting companies that aren't saying anything, as long as they're also like not saying anything at all. Like
right.
They're just like keeping the air clear kind of thing. If they're doing that tactic, I'm like, I'm cool with that too. I've noticed that with a few companies, small ones though.
Or you could be Riot Games, who, they
oh my god, oh my god,
they've been saying kind of the right things. I was surprised with Riot Games. You never know what to expect, but they came out pretty early, I guess, with a statement that not too many people were poking holes in. They've, really kind of been stepping up to the plate, as far as representation, especially in the Valorant clips. They have, in all of their videos, I think the main person who is running creative on the game is a female, and they've placed her, it's not just all male driven, what I'm trying to say. And even when you see those characters, like there's a lot of representation in the Valorant characters. They even recently came up with a partnership with a mental health service where you can call a text line and get free mental health help, or, a crisis line basically, which is really cool. But, one day they have that. The next day, one of their lead executives kind of goes on a big Facebook rant where essentially he posts a very distasteful meme about George Floyd.
Yeah.
And, kind of showing him and like all of his criminal history. And I think he, in the like text part, he wrote, something about how this is what you get when you live that type of lifestyle, which is obviously terrible. And they had him go on leave and then ended up terminating him. But it's kind of dangerous. It's a slippery slope. Like, yes, that's terrible, but where do we draw the line on, people's personal beliefs being, fireable offenses?
When
don't
you're
post
in
them publicly.
Role. Also, just like if you're in a leadership role, you as a person are a representative of that business. Like you are a figurehead. So, it's like a spokesperson. Somebody that has like that's a spokesperson for some large brand. If they come out and say something incredibly racist or controversial, like you bet your ass they're going to get fired.
Yeah. What were you saying, Emma?
If there's one thing that like you can always count on Riot Games for, it's being shitty. Even when they're trying not to be shitty, they are consistent in their shittiness.
But this was one guy, and I think they acted quickly. He ended up, I think, resigning.
Yeah.
The following day or two.
Resigned.
So they didn't fire. Yeah. Go ahead.
Is it resigning if they tell you to do it?
Maybe they were just doing him a solid, because I think he's been with the company for a while. I can't remember exactly what his title was. He was like a product guy for North America. So it's not like this is the guy hard coding or coming up with the concepts of the games. He's just an executive at the company. I was asking about where you draw the line because obviously I think a company has the right to fire you for that. I think that was well, done. But what happened with the LA Galaxy, which is a football club, there's a player and his wife, who I think is European, went on social media and really put some bad stuff, like how they should be killing protesters or something like that, like really, really, really bad stuff. And the organization condemned it. Even the player came out with a long post and condemned it and was like, I don't know, I definitely don't believe that. And my family, doesn't believe that. And
I mean, one person in your family believes that.
Well, the fans obviously wouldn't let up, and the club parted ways with the player, and that's kind of a scary thing when you're getting in trouble and losing your job for stuff that you didn't even say.
Pick a better spouse.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. I know a lot of people. Come on. Is that
How do
true?
you not know that your spouse is that kind of person? Like, it's just.
That's true.
Yeah, there's no way
That
this
was
was a
shocking.
shock. Yeah, there's no way. And if it is, then I'm very interested in why they're married. Like,
I will say I've seen people who they don't show their true colors. You're dating, you're talking, you get married to a person, and you don't see everything. I mean, throughout marriage, you're still learning about people. It's not like overnight you'll know like this person was that way. Even if they were hiding it, to you, they might be the perfect person, but out with their friends, out with other groups of people that they might socialize with, they might seem differently. So I've seen people you would not think be or act like that, and then all of a sudden that's how they are, or messages will come up, or this is how they've been acting all along. You just didn't know it. It's like blame yourself because you didn't know, but like what now?
It's like that adage where you find out what's really on the inside, when you hit yourself in the finger with a hammer. When you're under pressure, what comes out? And we are in times that are unlike any other. So it's chances are, if you don't put yourself in that situation, she's never seen or had an opportunity maybe to react to something like that. His statement, and we can call it BS or not, but he said, the posts made by my wife on her social media platforms were unacceptable. These views are not ones that I share and are not tolerated in my family. Racism, particularly towards the black community, is not only prevalent in the United States and Europe, but across the globe. I strongly condemn white supremacy, racism, violence towards people of color, Black Lives Matter. He said, this is a mistake from my family. I take full responsibility. I will ensure that my family and I take the necessary actions to learn, understand, listen, and understand the black community. I understand that it'll take time to earn back the support of the people of Los Angeles. I'm committed to putting in the necessary work, and these mistakes will make me a better ally and advocate going forward. I feel for the guy.
I think that was great.
Yeah.
And you could tell that it was written by him because it's not like perfect grammar. I'm not saying it's poor grammar or anything like that, but you can really tell that was written by a
real person
not
a team of lawyers.
Exactly. And here's the thing: we don't know what is in his code of conduct, his contract. We have no idea, right? And the fact that the termination came days later, that could just be a legal thing that caused it to go so long,
I think
It might have been, if I had to guess, it's probably a morality clause thing, which most public figures have in their contracts.
Well, here's another part. Just in reading the article, it seemed like even after this statement, the fans were harassing the social media, and there was like people latched onto it. I have a feeling if maybe he wasn't as popular, or if this wasn't a big team or something, and everybody read his article and was like, you know what, he's right, and kind of let it blow over, it would have. But I feel like it was the public pressure that really set them over the edge. And go ahead.
It could be like that could very well be it. It's a very guilty by association situation, right? Like if you see a politician standing next to David Duke, you're like, that guy's a racist.
Yep.
The one thing
Not everybody though.
I noticed
Not everybody says that.
it was kind of a bummer, but I saw this happen to a social media person kind of in one of the spaces I follow, where the person didn't even say anything wrong, but they also weren't very sympathetic, you know, and it was completely unrelated. I don't want to get into details, but in my opinion, he didn't do anything wrong. But a person saw that and saw him not being what they wanted to see, and they just harassed. Like every post this guy made, this person just latched on and followed them and was really trying to make a scene and message, was adding their boss and stuff like that to try and get them in trouble. And I felt like, in knowing, you know, of this person and knowing that they are definitely not racists, they're not on the wrong side, they weren't posting anything, you know, wrong. It was basically just, okay, I'll give a little more detail. So basically what was happening was, you know, their brand was getting called out for not making a statement about Black Lives Matter. And they basically replied like, you know, please just let me do my job, you know, quit tagging me. I don't make these decisions, type of thing. And it's true. That person, you know, isn't like a boss of this company. And it was unfortunate just to see this person spending so much attention and energy trying to get this, you know, dude in trouble and not actually spending that time to better, I guess. But I think it comes down to an element of control, which is where I think I'm going with this football club. You see this happens, you see this very bad thing. You want to hurt that person who said those things by any means. So you attack the player. And when you see him get let go, you feel like you made that change, you know? And I don't know that I agree with that kind of mentality, especially in this kind of fringe situations.
I feel for your friend as well, because I totally get that. I don't feel like people should be attacking people, especially if they're not. Like, I've seen a lot of things where people aren't saying things, like how we said earlier, or and they're not racist at all or anything. They just don't know how to word what they want to say or how they feel, and they're going through things themselves. I mean, think about it. We're all in quarantine for COVID. There's tons of people that might have mental health issues at this moment that we need to combat, and there's tons of things going on emotionally with everyone. And I feel like shouldn't be attacking people to that cause, because you don't know what that person's going through in their life, and they could not be racist at all, and you're attacking them for something they didn't even do. You're just like, well, I didn't say anything or whatever. Well, I can't form, I want to say what I really want to say, you know.
Exactly. Well, just kind of goes back to our last episode. If you missed the last one, check it out. I recommend it. I really had it was one of my favorite episodes, I think. We really, really did some soul searching and dug deep and got into some of these things. And I think just kind of going forward, just, you know, it's just about being good. Just be nice to people. I'm done talking about this. Unless you guys want to keep going, I think we can get into the good stuff, because we had a lot of crazy news. PlayStation 5, Emmaskies, take us through.
All right. So this there was basically it's like an E3 presentation, but better, because it, like we were talking about in the pre-show, it wasn't live.
Yeah.
So it all went right. It all went correctly. So this was supposed to be like our first real look at PlayStation 5, at the games that were going to be on it, at because what we'd gotten last time was more of a very, very technical look at some of the specs that I think we commented at the time. We're like, this was really fucking boring. Like, there's a lot of good information, but this was really fucking boring. So this was more of what like the average consumer wanted to see. It was trailers and it was flashy and it had all that kind of stuff. But like we mentioned, like they started off with Rockstar, which was fucking bizarre. I was like, I don't know if there was like some sort of monetary contractual thing here, but they start off with the Rockstar logo, and I'm like, my immediate thought was, holy shit, GTA 6. Like, What a crazy announcement to start with. No, it's GTA 5 again. It's like you were saying, like it's Bethesda worked great for Bethesda. It's their Skyrim now. Like they're just gonna release it every time they can. So that's the first thing we got, was that GTA 5 Enhanced is gonna be on it, and I think they said every month from now until the release of PlayStation 5, if you have PS Plus, you get $1 million in-game currency.
Until the release of GTA 5 in 2021.
Oh yeah, that's what it was, like January or something.
That's a long campaign. I think that's pretty cool.
I was like, that's a fuck ton of in-game currency. What are they gonna do? Do you think it's like the real economy where like you just flood the market with cash and it just devalues everything? I'm curious to see what happens
No,
to the
because it
in-game
doesn't
economy.
cycle.
I have
So it doesn't cycle. It's not like it goes into the shops and then somehow comes back out to the players.
Yeah, that's fair. Lame.
This game
I got excited for a minute.
it's crazy how long it's lasted. It really technically came out at the end of the 360 PS3 era, went all the way through the Xbox One, got hit on PC, and it's incredibly popular and actually kind of intimidating. I don't know if any of you guys have jumped on GTA in a while, but it feels like if you didn't keep up and you jump in, you're just so underpowered. Like everybody has giant mansions. They all like know this meta game. Last time I got on, within 5 minutes, a van full of green aliens got out and beat me to death with hammers. Like it's an intimidating, scary place. I played it for an afternoon and felt like I was done. I think they should maybe level it out somehow where there's like a newbie zone, like a shallow end of the pool for guys like me. But again, I agree with you guys. This wasn't very exciting for me. I was really hoping to see something more.
It was just such a weird way to start it.
Yeah.
I felt bamboozled twice. First with the Rockstar logo, that messed me up. And then when they showed Sackboy, I was like, yes, a new Littlebigplanet.
That's what I said. And I was like, but
damn
it's different.
Yeah, it would have been, I don't know. I feel like they shouldn't have hyped up the Sackboy character as much in a costume, because it was just like, oh, I wanted it so badly.
So after the GTA 5 bait and switch, they got what was like the real start of the show, which I kind of was like the real, like that was like the commercial that you watched before the show, and then the show actually started with the announcement of Spider-Man Miles Morales. I screamed. I was so happy.
I thought that was really great. And I love that they're not doing the stage show where they're bogging you down with too many details, but we need some details.
Yeah.
And that was one case where it was a clusterfuck of an announcement because you built everybody up so hype because that was like the best selling game of the PS4 or whatever. And you start strong with this. They showed like it did look beautiful. And then it just Miles Morales, the internet goes wild. And then you start getting spoon-fed details a little bit later that maybe this isn't a full-fledged game. Okay, now it's a DLC, but now it's going to be standalone. So where did it end up netting out? Because you posted an article this morning, and then the internet shat on you for it. And then what was the mix-up?
So IGN put out an article this morning that basically said that they had heard from a Sony executive that the Miles Morales game was not in and of itself a full standalone game. It was going to be DLC or an expansion for a Spider-Man remastered for the PS5. So then that's kind of what went out into the ether. That's what went out into the world. And then Insomniac very quickly was like, no, this is wrong. Please don't tell people this. It's a standalone game. And Insomniac spent the entire day telling people this is a standalone game. This is it is not an expansion. This is it's its own game. Like their Twitter feed, if you go into their replies, it's just all of them telling people this is a standalone experience. It's its own game. It will be in its own box. And then the question that we're all kind of left with is it really a standalone game, or is it DLC that they're repackaging as its own thing because they want it for launch? Is it going to be the same massive experience that Spider-Man was? Is it going to be something smaller and shorter? A friend of mine compared it to the Uncharted side story game that came out, where it wasn't it was its own game, but it wasn't a true sequel.
What was that? The Lost something or others?
Yeah, something or other. The one that had it was two women, wasn't it, as the protagonists?
I believe so.
But so I could see it being something like that, which is gonna kind of bum me out because if it's not the same level of detail and time as the Spider-Man game, I'll be very upset because Miles is a big enough character that he needs that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Miles Morales is a fantastic character, and they spent the whole first game kind of building him up, and then that's too late. If you didn't play this game, it's been out long enough. There's he basically is going to get spider powers. They allude to that.
He's got him.
Yeah,
He's got his spider powers.
Yeah, he jumps up on the ceiling or something crazy. So it was a great game. The PS4 Spider-Man and Miles Morales does deserve it. I think from what I've heard, rumors that make sense is that this will be like a short expansion that'll lead into Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man PS4, 5, 2, whatever the fuck they're going to end up calling it. They've kind of, because what was the original one called? Spider-Man PS4?
It was just called Marvel Spider-Man.
It was Marvel Spider-Man. Okay.
Yeah.
But whatever they end up doing with this, I think the second one is going to be like a joint story between, because fans of the first one want to see what happens to Peter Parker as well, and kind of, so just cutting him out completely would not be fair, but giving them like a joint 2-player maybe experience would be incredible. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that's Endgame. The next one is going to be like a 2-player, because it's not just enough to take the same exact physics, give it a little bit of paint, and then call it, a sequel these days. They got to add some extra gameplay elements. Hopefully remove some gameplay elements from the original Spider-Man one. What are you hoping to see from this one, though, Emma, as far as like features go? Do you think they're going to change it up too much?
I don't think they need to change it up too much. I want to see a very different movement style from Miles than we have for Peter. Like if they just kind of reskin Peter and like, put a new face on him and kind of sell you the same thing, I'll be a little bummed. Like Miles should have his own movement system that's completely separate and completely different from Peter's. Like you have to learn a new game where the controllers are the same, but he is clearly his own person. And if he does not at any point in the game say the line, "What's up, danger?" I will cry.
I will too.
They need to just like worm that in somewhere. That's all. That's really all I want. I just want a good movement style, and I want "What's up, danger?" and I want a good Miles story. And the question is, what are they going to do about the Mary Jane missions?
God damn it.
Who's going to be their Mary Jane missions for this?
Delete forever. That was the only thing I care about. Get rid of the normie missions, because the Miles Morales missions even sucked. There was even portions where you had to play as him, going through.
His was at least like storytelling wise interesting.
It felt better because there was a little bit more like, I don't know.
There was more happening.
Yeah. Because his was like in the big explosions and there's fire, and it felt like there was a little anticipation. In the Mary Jane ones where you're just walking through the museum and stuff, it was extremely boring. The one thing that you got to preserve, though, is the J. Jonah Jameson podcast.
Yes.
That was
Please.
And now that J.K. Simmons has signed on for more movies, can they sign him onto this game?
Oh my God.
I don't even want him to. Just whoever the last guy was fine. Whoever wrote it, let them write it again. That was one of the most entertaining parts of that whole game.
And I didn't even think about this until right now, but like, even besides his movement style being different, like, it should be not necessarily harder, but more of a learning curve maybe, because you gotta imagine at the point of the Spider-Man game for PS4, Peter has been Spider-Man for 10 years. He's got a lock on what he's doing. Miles is just discovering that he can walk on walls.
Yeah.
So like whether that means that you end up unlocking a lot of powers later because he doesn't know how to do everything, I don't know.
I mean, I would expect that. It's such it was so obvious for you to like come up with that very quickly that I'm confident that they've come up with that also.
Nope, I am a genius. Nobody could come up with this. I am a visionary. Insomniac needs to hire me.
Okay. Honestly, like I do love that you can see the amateur style of Miles Morales in that trailer. You can, like he's very like fluttery when he's in the air. Like he really doesn't have his balance. So I did appreciate seeing that. It definitely separates them as characters, like when you're flying through the air.
This was also one of the only games that had something even close to a release date. That was the thing that bothered me the most, I think, about this entire presentation. There's not one date. There is not one firm date in any of this, and it pissed me off. This one says holiday 2020, which seems to mean that it will be a launch title. It'll be a day one launch title because the PS5 is holiday 2020. What I'm really hoping is that means there will be a Spider-Man Miles Morales edition of the PS5 that comes out at launch. So I don't need to get that white monstrosity.
Did you see the fan art of a Spider-Man PS5 already?
There's been a few.
It's beautiful. Yeah. I
100%.
Yeah, 100%. That would be cool. I think one other little feature I would want to see that I know, if you're listening, Insomniac, please. One of the best things about the last Spider-Man game was all the suits, and then especially like the gimmicky ones, like the 2D one and the comic book one like that. They have to do the Spider-Verse version with the frame split drops and everything. Like that would be sick.
That was one of like easily the highlights of the whole thing. I think that's how you start it. Not Rockstar GTA 5 for the 19th time. That's how you start it.
Yeah.
So they bookended this presentation with two really, really good ones. After that, it was nap time because it was Gran Turismo.
Come
I
on.
know you're a big racing sim guy, aren't you, Taylor?
Yeah, I got my racing sim right behind me.
Are you excited for Gran Turismo 7?
I will buy it and I will play it, but it will not be like the primary racing game that I play ever. So.
Wow, strong words. Strong words.
I mean,
we got a new Ratchet and Clank game.
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm so excited about that. It's been ages.
Is the female character at the end, is she a known entity or is she new?
I did not recognize her.
I didn't know about her at all. I just know classic Ratchet and Clank. I played 1 and 2, and I was just excited about this.
How long has it been since the last one?
Not super long. Wasn't there one on PS4?
Oh, well, never mind then. That's not as special as I thought it was.
yeah, they pump one of these out per console generation. It's not like it's been too long. Did they ever put out a movie for this too? Wasn't there supposed to be a Ratchet and Clank film?
I don't know. There was one in 2016.
The game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one looked, it intimidated me. It looked too scary. Like,
Oh, wow.
he was like dimension hopping. There's big things. Like I saw it and felt overwhelmed.
There's a part in that trailer that looks like they took it shot for shot from Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the scene where they're in New York City and they're falling down the building and they're going through different dimensions. Like that was like that's Doctor Strange.
Yeah, yeah. Too much for me. Not into this one.
But when
art imitates art, right?
I mean, I guess. But they did have the female character at the end, and I noticed pretty early on in this reveal, there are a ton of women in these games. Like, I think in the first 5 games they showed, 3 of them had female protagonists. And I caught on super quick, and I got real excited.
No way, Emma. You were paying attention to
I was very
that?
excited.
No way. Not you.
Why? Because the one after this was a really bizarre cinematic for a game with a working title. They don't even have a real title for it yet, called Project Athia. That looks very cool, but like tells you nothing about it, which you know I love.
Yeah, I did see a lot of these, and when I classify games, I go, "Oh yeah, hell yeah, I'm playing that." Oh, that's like a Emma artsy game, and then then the third category of just like Gran Turismo or something like that. But I did see a lot of artsy crap that you'd probably be interested in.
Oh yeah, there was some good stuff. So yeah, the Project Athia one is just a complete cinematic. There's no dialogue. There's some, they put some of the stuff on screen, the words or whatever. But they don't say anything about it. It doesn't even have a real title. So you don't know what it's called. You don't know when it's coming out. You just have this cinematic that doesn't. I don't know. I'm generally fine with cinematics for like premiere trailers. If it's the first time I'm seeing a game, I'm totally fine with the cinematic. If it's the second time I'm seeing it, it has to have gameplay.
Yeah, they started pretty strong with the gameplay because Gran Turismo had gameplay.
And quite a bit of gameplay.
Yeah, there was gameplay for Ratchet and Clank. And then this, they kind of broke the mold. It was just a passable moment. I didn't see anything too crazy on this one.
Just to kind of, this is a thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
When I was a developer and I was working on some stuff that would have been released on console, there was always a conversation of like, is it a hardware seller? Like, is this a $600 game or is this a $500 game? Like, is our game good enough that somebody will buy the console to play this game?
Right.
And that game was so far from that interesting.
That's fair. To be fair, I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon. Like, it's not a launch title. I don't even think it'll come out in 2021. I would be surprised to see it before 2022, given the fact that we don't even have a fucking name for it yet.
Yeah, true.
I was watching it with some coworkers, and about maybe a trailer or two after this, the most poignant like observation was like, man, these games all seem very sad, and that seemed to be a theme, like how they laid out the thematic like music and would show things, and it was always like every one kind of had the same monotone. And then I think that ended up being very advantageous for games like Oddworld, and actually even Oddworld seemed really heavy this time
Oddworld
around.
seemed very heavy.
Yeah, I'm talking, but maybe
Oddworld's always heavy.
but the strawberry game, like
Yeah,
that
Bug
was
Snacks
such a
and-
huge contrast. And then even the time,
Yeah.
what was the time one?
Deathloop.
Deathloop. Like that
Yeah.
one's personality was really able to shine through. I think this kind of monotony of just, wow, this is beautiful, very sad tale of, a universe where pollution took over. It all seemed like they ran together.
Well, speaking of sad stuff, this is actually not sad. I'm very excited for it. Stray finally has a trailer.
Finally.
Oh my god. I have been waiting so many years for this game. Because for years we've only known it as there's a game coming out where you're a cat in Tokyo. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I needed to know. And we got a trailer for it, and I realized like halfway through the trailer what I was watching, because I haven't like super closely followed the development of it, so I didn't know that it was like a thing that was coming out soon. But there's a game called Stray where you play as a cat, and I don't know if he's like a delivery boy because he's got a little backpack and he's making his way through Tokyo, and he's very cute, and there's no people, there's only robots.
Right.
This is everything I want.
I felt like this one did a really good job world building. Like I just wanted to be in that world. I think kind of like the Outer Worlds did for me when I saw it. It just had that sandbox of like, oh, I just want to see what caused this. Why are things the way they are? And the character models that they did with like the heads being like computer monitors and stuff. It just seems interesting. I think it's one of those games where it's artsy, where I would classify it as like a Emma artsy crap game, but
Wow.
interesting enough where I want playable cats. I'm in. So I think that'll be a good one.
With his little backpack.
It was adorable.
Oh, yeah.
It was
I want them
Yeah.
to make that a thing because I want one for my cat.
I think it was like 2016. One of the developers, I want to say they're a French team, like posted on Twitter just a clip of like the cat kind of running on like a ledge path or whatever, and it just like it blew up in the game dev community. And then fast forward some months, and then it was like in game walking down an aisle, jumping up on radiators and all this stuff, and it just like it just blew up from there. And I think that's like, is that how you found out about it, Emma? Way back then? Was that
I saw
tweet?
it on Facebook like years ago, like probably when one of the later videos came out, and it was just like, look at this game where you're a cat. I was like, sold, done. Don't need to tell me anything else. I will buy a PlayStation. This is a hardware seller for me.
I had to review a game for Nerd Reactor back in the day. It was the worst game. It's my worst review I ever gave a game, but it was called Murdered Soul Suspect. Did anybody play that game?
No.
Awful game. But the highlight was there was sections of the game where you'd possess a cat and play as the cat going through like vents and stuff. And that should have been the game. I have a lot of faith in playable cats. This game is going to be huge.
It'll be a big one for sure. So after that, we got a game called Returnal, which was another one that was just purely cinematic, like world premiere kind of thing. And it's weird because we've already mentioned Deathloop. It's weird to me that Returnal and Deathloop were in the same showcase because they're that same kind of live, die, repeat concept, even if they're clearly very different in the way that they do it. But yeah, Returnal is like one of these space things where, crash on the planet, they attack, she dies, she's back in the ship. Crash on the planet, they attack, she dies, and then the planet's like slowly infecting her. It looks really fucking cool. I'm like invested in this.
I think it's a terrible name.
It's a rough name.
If they called it Project Returnal, I'd probably be more excited about the game because then I know that there's a new title coming.
Is it going to stop you from buying it though?
It might.
Wow.
I mean, if I'm not if I'm not going to pay attention to a game that sounds stupid, like why would I go out of my way to look up like details about that?
You don't judge a book by its cover, you judge it by its title.
Both of you.
Absolutely.
It looks good. It's another one with a female protagonist and an older female protagonist. Like she's clearly probably in her late 30s, early 40s.
I'm
which
sorry, I didn't even
we were
notice her
talking
gender
about.
or age, Emma, because I don't see the world that way. I apologize.
Wow, well you can go fuck yourself
Get those
because
eyes checked.
I do. She's got heterochromia. I don't know if that's going to be important, but
That was cool. It's got to be
good.
It was very like prominent in the trailer.
Wait, what
it's
is
when
that?
your eyes are different colors.
Oh,
She had one blue eye and one brown eye.
Really
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Like a cat.
Well, yeah,
I mean, like heterochromia. Some
like,
cats
yeah.
do.
It's just anything
It looks
that
good.
has eyes.
I'm excited for that one. And then I guess I'm very excited that you're here, Taylor, because I didn't think anybody in the world would be excited about Sackboy. I thought I was the only person that would care. But then I also thought it was. Are you a fan of the I can't even say the word. Littlebigplanet, Lexie?
Yes.
So I remember I was looking at it and I was like, cool, a new Littlebigplanet. And then I was like, this doesn't really look like Littlebigplanet. It's a little different. And then it's not called Littlebigplanet. So now I'm confused and sad, but also excited.
I was excited until they didn't show that you could make your own levels. Then
That's what I was
real sad
missing
again.
the customization. And it's not a side scroller, although I didn't play 3, so I don't know if 3 moved away from side scroller.
You could do other angles, I thought.
And is that the one where
I
they
didn't
added
play-
in different sack people that had different
They've
sack
had that
abilities?
since 2, I think.
Yeah, the
Okay.
last one I played was 2.
But I love Littlebigplanet. I remember that being, I got my PlayStation 3 years after its release, and only because I was looking for a Blu-ray player, and at that point they were like the same price. So I was like, I may as well just get a PlayStation and play some games. And it was like one of the only games that I played that was a PS3 game. It was like that and Heavenly Sword are the 2 PS3 titles that I remember really well.
Wow, what a contrast.
Yeah.
Heavenly Sword is a good game!
I mean, they're
It's
both
just
good
good.
games.
Yeah.
But it's just good.
It's also the precursor to Hellblade, and nobody can tell me otherwise. Ridiculous. This isn't a sequel to Heavenly Sword, even though we named it the same thing. Whatever. We got a game called Destruction All-Stars that I could not really care less about, but looks like it might be fun.
It's
Okay.
Go
You
ahead.
could care less because you said it might be fun.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why I said I couldn't care less. Whatever. It at first, because I think Aaron and I were texting about it, and he thought it was a new Fusion Frenzy.
Yeah, that's.
I was like, I would have lost my mind if it was Fusion Frenzy, but no.
wasn't Fusion Frenzy an Xbox game though?
Yeah,
I
it
believe
was.
so.
Yeah, when that pops off, that's gonna be sick. That one would bring back that same wave of excitement that we got when they just announced the Tony Hawk thing. Like,
Oh man,
the same part of my brain would just kind of fire off all those happy connections. I thought that this game was just that typical, all the guys sitting in a boardroom are like, all right, the biggest game. What's the biggest game in the world? Fortnite. Yeah. What's the second biggest game in the world? Rocket League. Let's take those 2 games, we mix them together, and then this is what we got. And
I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
that's all it
Fortnite.
is. The way that the map and tracks looked, there wasn't like weaponry on any of them, so it's not really like a Twisted Metal, which some of us were kind of like trying to compare to. It looks like it's just Rocket League that's going to be a battle royale that has all these crazy kooky skins and characters that you're going to want to buy for some reason. That's the play, 100%.
If you wanted to describe my least favorite game in the world, that's exactly what you would say.
I think this isn't for you, Emma.
It's not for me.
No, this is definitely not for you. While you're playing,
Stray.
while you're playing Stray or what was the Returnal, I'll be
Returnal?
playing this mindless wrecking cars into each other while a 13-year-old boy calls me names you wouldn't want to hear.
Sounds about right. But after that, we went back to getting good story games. Kehna, Bridge of Spirits, I'm fucking sold on this game. This game looks beautiful. We got gameplay that looks really fucking good. The story, oh my god. I want this game right now.
It kind of like in the beginning with the art style really gave me Cameo vibes. I don't know if you guys remember Cameo on I think it was the 360. But then when it turned into like a much more open and like exciting world, I was sold.
Word up.
It just, the combat looks really good. It looks like it's got some platforming to it and some of that, like, you have to collect powers along the way that maybe at one point you had and now you have to go get them again. It kind of gave me like Ori vibes in like the storytelling of it. It looks like everything I want in a game. And we got another female protagonist. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, I thought with the art style, it was giving me EverQuest vibes, like some of the EverQuest Next stuff. So I really perked up there for a second until I kind of realized it was story driven.
Yeah. Why is that a bad thing? You want stories in your games. That's why you play games for good stories.
Exactly.
I've played nothing but Overwatch for like 4 years, so the story doesn't really matter too much to me anymore.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, if you don't like story, you're not going to like Goodbye Volcano High, which looks so boring.
I was actually really happy to see it in the lineup.
What do you know about it? What do you know about
that genre of game doesn't get much airtime, and to be on the launch of a new console, that's huge.
That's fair. I'm curious, like, what puts it up there? Like, who's making this game? Who is it? So Goodbye Volcano High gives me very like Life is Strange vibes. Everybody seems to be like some sort of reptile or dinosaur, but they're like anthropomorphic humanoid kind of things, and they're all graduating high school, and it's very like coming of age, sad, moving away tale. And I was just like, I hate this already.
Yep, that was another one of those games where it was really sad. I'm not gonna lie, this was the bathroom break game for me. I legitimately walked up and went to the bathroom during this one, so I missed it.
It made me remember the fact that Life is Strange was only as fun for me as it was because there was that sci-fi element in the time travel. Because when I played Before the Storm, which didn't have that, it was the same concept of the game without the sci-fi time travel stuff. I was like, this is fucking boring. Yeah. This is teen drama simulator, and I hate it.
You didn't get enough of that growing up?
It was only a few years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Mean. But yeah, I don't know. You make a good point in that it's cool to see that kind of variety where like you're not seeing the same shoot 'em up kind of or adventure or epic or whatever. Like it's definitely something very different in the lineup. Let's see. Did it say who made it? It does not say. This person doesn't say. And it even says like the breakdown I'm saying says it was also feature a unique and indie style soundtrack. And I was like, this is just Life is Strange.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
Yep.
Which I guess if you're looking to fill that void, whatever. But then we followed that up with a total unexpected surprise that none of us saw coming. A new Oddworld game. Who the fuck could have guessed?
I was almost shaking. I was so excited. Which is funny because it's not a game that I'm going to invest an immense amount of time in, even though I love the Oddworld games, as for those watching live can see that I'm wearing an Oddworld shirt. But like, I was just so excited. I don't think I've been that excited to see a title come back in a long time.
How long has that franchise been around? PlayStation 1? Is it PS1?
Well, if we ignore the 2014 game, it's been...
I had Munch's Odyssey and Abe's Odyssey on the original Xbox, I think.
I never played them, but I remember seeing ads all the time. Oddworld, Abe's Exodus, and I remember like them being like fart jokes, and I think that's when I might have been in the Xbox phase. But I always wanted to play it because I thought it was fun and the characters were strange. Watching this trailer, it just again seemed very heavy and sad.
It was. I remember I was talking about that while we were discussing it as we were watching it. I was like, because in the before they'd done one of those things where like they had a quick little interview clip with the devs, and he was talking about like he mentioned something about how like your successes are very important, and even when you fail, it's kind of hilarious. And I was like, oh, it's funny. Because it's Oddworld. Not one piece of that trailer looked... That was heavy. There was like one kind of silly line where he says, oh shit, and you're like, oh, he said a bad word. And then that's it. It was so fucking heavy. It was intense. I was like, none of this is funny.
I mean, it's a world that revolves around slavery and uprising.
It's very true. But still, why are you gonna put it in your interview package that like, this is a funny game, and then be like, here's all this heavy shit? You gotta show me the fun. But then he like, when he cuts the things that tie his mouth. Oh,
yeah.
I was stoked. That's what pumped me up the most.
I'm so excited. So the first Oddworld game was in 1997.
Yeah, Abe's Odyssey.
And there was a Switch release. There was Oddworld Stranger's Wrath came out in January. Whatever the hell that is.
Well, it's a re-release of the 2005 Oddworld.
The only Oddworld game that I vividly remember, funny enough, is not even an Abe game. It's Munch's Odyssey. That's the game I remember the most out of all of them. I fucking love Munch. And I was like watching this whole trailer. I was like, where's Munch? Where is he? Give him to me. Put him somewhere in this trailer.
For someone who just knows this franchise from the commercials, like, what's the breakdown? Is this a platformer? I always assumed it was a platformer.
Yeah, it's definitely a platformer.
And how is
it's
it?
Fun it's fun like Earthworm Jim kind of fun.
Gotcha. So okay. And then
if I can throw it way back to something hella old.
That makes way more sense. Thanks for putting it in boomer terms for me to understand. I get it.
We're roughly the same age.
Yeah.
We're both old.
So after that big old surprise, we got a look, our second look at Ghostwire Tokyo, which everybody should remember. The E3 launch of that was when that very cute Japanese lady came out and was clearly very excited about her spooky game.
Yeah.
She kept saying, she was like, it's spooky. But she is not working on this game anymore, which is devastating. Yeah. So she will not be a part of any more briefings. But like I said earlier, like the first time you show it, it should, cinematics are okay, but the second time you show it, there has to be gameplay. There was gameplay in this, and it looks really fucking cool. This game looks spooky.
Yeah.
She was right.
Tell us how you feel about the evil within and what your fears are.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Game. So Taylor's the worst person in the world because while we were watching this trailer, he goes, "Did you play the Evil Within?" And I was like, "Yeah, I fucking hate that game. That game was trash." And he goes, "It's the same people." Because I didn't know that before. But I am the only person I have ever met that did not like the Evil Within. I don't know what it is. I hated that game. It was me and my roommate. And neither of us liked it. It was a miserable experience because we would play single player games together. So it was like one of those where, when you die, I'll give you the controller, and when I die, you switch off at death.
The good old days.
And we were like fighting each other to not play. It was like, no, that's not a real death. You keep playing. Like, you, by all means, you keep playing. And there's like, no, please, yeah. Like, neither of us wanted it. But we made it through the whole game, and when we got to the end, we were like, we got to look up reviews. Like, we got to watch people trash this game. This is going to be fucking hilarious. And all the reviews were like, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, perfect game. This is amazing. And I have no idea what happened.
I'm kind of just watching highlights of this trailer. There was gameplay in here? Or was it just like cinematic gameplay?
It's that like cinematic, like there's no HUD, but you got to imagine like that's what it looks like.
Okay. I do remember thinking this looks like a lot of different inputs because there seem to be like telekinesis type powers, fire powers, electricity, and being able to swap between all this.
If you ever played BioShock or Dishonored or any game that has like different levels of magical powers, like that's not necessarily a hard concept.
There's probably a character progression through it as well. So you're not actually like, I would hope that there is, because then you could get better replayability out of it.
Yeah. And it's like having a game that just has like a massive amount of weapons. It's just the same concept. You just have your weapons in your hands.
Again,
they're your little tingle fingers.
Overwatch player for 5 years. If they have more than 3 abilities, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing anymore.
You heard me. Lexie, are you big on the multiple powers games?
I am. I just never heard of them. So I was just like,
you're like a ghost hunter in Tokyo. It looks fucking sick.
I mean, it's
one of the ghosts they kept showing, I swear I thought was Slender Man the whole time. Like, if it's not supposed to be, it's definitely like in that same vein. I was like, is it supposed to be Slender Man or is this copyright infringement? Is a creepypasta copyrighted?
No, you can't copyright.
I don't know how that works.
I tried.
You don't know. You don't know. So that one looks really good. I'm excited for that. We got Jet: The Far Shore, which looks like another space exploration game. And I hope that it's going to be the one to get it right. But who knows? You're a No Man's Sky fan, aren't you, Taylor?
I am. And I firmly believe that it didn't get a fair shake when it launched. I think a lot of boring people wrote reviews for it.
It's on Game Pass now, I think.
Well, I don't need it.
Oh, wow.
I already have it.
Well, for the listeners, if you want No Man's Sky, it's on Game Pass.
I really want to know more about the game.
Yeah.
Like, what is the actual exploration like? Is it played at all like a 4X game? Like, what are we actually doing other than zooming around?
Visually, it very much reminded me of Interstellar. remember thinking that between the visuals and the music, and like at one point they're on a planet where you're just skimming over the ocean, and I was like, this looks exactly like Interstellar, and it sounds like it's trying to be Interstellar.
I mean,
and I'm like, if you're trying to make a game out of the concept of Interstellar, I'm okay with seeing where that goes.
Yeah, except the only thing that made Interstellar great is Matthew McConaughey. So
you watched it on a plane. You don't get to have an opinion.
No, I watched it in a hotel room once as well on TV with commercials. So
no, we're done. You don't get to talk about Interstellar. You're not allowed.
All right.
Go see it in IMAX and then talk to me.
Apparently, Emma makes the rules.
I do.
It's Emma's world.
This motherfucker watched it on a plane. If there was one movie you wouldn't want to watch on a plane, it's like Interstellar and Inception.
And I thought it was fantastic. I don't know how you could tell me I didn't enjoy it as much as I did. It's not like I said the movie was shit, and it was because I didn't get the experience.
You didn't.
Literally,
you don't know how good it is.
Put it this way: if I did watch it in IMAX, I would go into cardiac arrest. I loved that movie on a screen the size of an iPhone. So if I saw it, I can't handle it. I know my body cannot handle watching that movie in an IMAX. Too much McConaughey.
Oh, wow. What if Matthew McConaughey was the voice actor for this game?
Oh, if he voice acted any video game, it could be that Dumb Deer game that you like. That
I was waiting for that to come up. It's like once an episode now.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with it. He's obsessed with it.
If they would have cut to that deer's head and he said, all right, I would have been all over it day one, pre-ordered.
I am shocked that Cory doesn't own a Lincoln.
Cory can't afford a Lincoln. If he could, you bet your ass I'll be driving a Lincoln.
Oh, I hate it. So we got our next look at Godfall after this. I'm
still interested.
Really?
Yeah, I'm still interested. I'm not like super pumped, but I'm still holding on.
Godfall to me feels like it's gonna be what Rise Son of Rome is for the Xbox One.
No, don't curse the game like that.
It's a combat based it's clearly a combat based game that's all about fighting and aesthetics and leveling up, and it's gonna be short lived and nobody will care, and it's gonna be a pretty launch title. That
is all Rise Son of Rome was.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how I feel. It's exactly when I was watching this trailer for Godfall, like it's the same swing animation in every combat scenario. Then it just looks like you're just fighting the same things over and over in the same way over and over to level up, to grind, to get new armor. I was like, all right, like there's an audience for that. Like there's an audience for that. I'm not the audience.
The audience.
It's Taylor.
Was this a Gearbox game? Was that this one?
It's published by Gearbox, but it's not developed by Gearbox.
I think Gearbox's management or marketing team got their hands on it because they tried to do that Borderlands thing where they take some really hype, like EDM hip hop track, and try and make that kind of carry the action. And where you can get away with that in Borderlands, this felt so out of place. When we were watching it, we were like, why is this like a hip hop song? Like we were expecting one of the characters to maybe do a dance or maybe some neon lights to fly. Like there was nothing about this game that fit that music style. And I feel like it kind of distracted from what it could have been. We were all kind of thinking in our chat it could have been Dynasty Warriors style game, which I'm all down for. Dynasty. What was that?
Or Darksiders.
Yeah, Darksiders, like that would be acceptable too. But the hip hop music and the lack of like details kind of just made this missable. I would never.
Should we start a conspiracy theory?
Please. I'm
okay.
I'm not.
All right, let's start a conspiracy theory. So back in the day, skate videos.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
They would have music tracks on them.
Yeah.
But then right before the release of the video, they would not have the license for the music, so they'd have to find something that has the same beats and cuts. And so you would end up with things like, gosh, there was one video with Daewon Song that was just the not right music for that guy. But it just fit so perfectly with all the cuts they had that they just had to ship it.
They didn't want to get caught in the DMCA scandal, so they had to swap
Especially
to this
right now.
generic
Oh my god.
hip hop track. All right.
Could you imagine Sony gets DMCA'd on Twitch?
Stream goes down in the middle of it. Nope, no PS5 for anybody.
This section of the VOD is muted.
God.
Oh my god.
Godfall was followed up by another Emma game that Cory won't care about called Solar Ash.
I'm so pumped.
Me too. Every time I see a game that has an art style like this, I want it. Like I'm really excited that there's still a market for games. Like even in this, 2020 graphics are incredible, ray tracing, everything's photorealistic and, picture perfect and it looks, as real can be. There's still a market for these kind of stylized artistic games like Solar Ash from the creators of Hyper Light Drift. That it looks good.
Yeah.
Solar
Hyper Light
Ash?
Drifter was an exceptional game.
More like Solar Ass.
Oh my god.
That's all I got to say about that one. Zing!
Dang.
Yeah, I was watching it. It's funny because in the same way that you watch things now and you're like, oh, this is an Emma game, I'll be like, this is a not Cory game.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Like, I look at it, I'm like, Cory's gonna make fun of me because I want this game. That's what I can expect when we go on the show next time. Cory will hate this game. So this is a not Cory game. This is an Emma game.
100%.
What's not necessarily an Emma game, Hitman 3. I did not know we were still making these games.
Really?
Same.
They hyped it up. They're like, this is, the end of this trilogy of Hitman. I was like, there's a trilogy?
And a bad movie, apparently. Like,
Yeah.
Weren't there 2 bad movies? Because Hitman Agent 47 was the one with not Orlando Bloom, but looks like discount Orlando Bloom. Rupert something or other. Rupert Fine? I don't know what the fuck his name is. He was in Homeland.
No idea.
Discount Orlando Bloom. Fine actor. Wonderful actor. Yes, I guess they're still making Hitman games that, hooray, next January. I think maybe that was also one of the ones that had like the closest thing to a release date. It was like early 2021.
Hitman more like shit, man. You know what I'm saying, everybody?
Wow.
He becomes a dad.
Oh, no. They showed off Astro's Playroom, which I don't think anybody gives a shit about. That was like
Astro's Playroom. Which one was that?
I'm
That was
concerned
like-
if they allow the camera to like live stream again, considering all the stuff that happened with the last one.
No.
Playroom.
Please no. That's another one of those where you're like on, that's the game that you play like from your home screen on PlayStation or something weird. I don't know. Nobody cares about those. They weird virtual live chat room things happen in there.
That's for the kids that get a PlayStation 5 for Christmas and no games.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Hey, it's a struggle out there, man. Sometimes you got to get the console, and then you get the games later.
Yeah.
That's how it
It
was.
was like grandma and grandpa, they only hear PlayStation, they get the PlayStation, and then it's like, shit.
When I had the PlayStation 1, all I had was a demo disc that came with it. So I grinded the same one character on Tekken that they gave you access to.
Was that Eddie Gordo?
No, I think it was just like one of the generic ones, like Kazuya, or no, no, it was Lee and the girl and his girlfriend, and then it had Jet Moto, and like the first song for Parappa the Rapper, and I played those in sequence over and over and over again. Oh, and Galaga. It had Galaga.
That man's playing Galaga.
Yeah, that man's playing Galaga. No, Galaga was in the loading screen of Tekken, so I would just reload it over and over so I could play Galaga until I got.
Man, I miss demo discs. I have like a stack. I'm looking at them on my bookshelf right now. I have a stack of Xbox demo discs from Xbox Gamer Magazine.
Wow.
Oh my god.
I found when I was cleaning out my garage, and I was like, I can't get rid of these.
No, those
there's
are
a Halo
history.
demo in one of those.
No way. That's worth money right there.
There's a Dead or Alive 3 demo in one of those.
Oh god, that's not worth anything.
Yeah.
It's definitely not worth
Wow.
anything. You could just
That's
shred that
exciting.
one.
You're all bad people.
Wait.
bad
You
people.
guys don't like Dead or Alive?
No,
No,
it's
they
the
make
worst
it like
franchise of
something.
all time.
It's the best
I-
fighting game, and you
well,
can
I
all fight me.
I got you, Emma.
First
Dead
of
or
all,
Alive is like, it's cute but fun, and
It also has like the best control scheme and the best counter system. Fuck y'all.
Well, on
No.
happier news, yeah, let's just skip right over. She said the best counter system. Speaking of the best counter system, It's Bad Kitty, friend of the show, just raided us with a party of 17 people. So if you watch the show podcast live on Twitch, it's fun. You can hang out, talk to us, banter. I dropped my jokes ahead of time in there with like my shitman joke that I'm sure you all remember from 5 minutes ago. I dropped those in chat, just like little behind the scene things, man, just stuff you wouldn't get if you listen on the podcast. So thanks, Bad Kitty, for the Bad Kitty raid. We're just catching up on all the fun and excitement from the PS5 reveal, where we just had Emma waste our time talking about Dead or Alive for some reason. What was the next one?
So it was another not Cory game that I'm very interested in called Little Devil Inside.
Best
it's that
poop joke
one
ever.
best poop joke, top-notch poop joke. Honestly, you know, we love a good poop joke. It was very artfully done. It was very tasteful.
I've seen it 3 times. Hasn't lost its touch.
It looks very interesting. It looks very. It's one of those again where like I don't really know what I'm looking at, but I'm intrigued and I'm excited to see where it goes. I don't know. I'm down for the aesthetic. The aesthetic games always catch my eye. More so than the photorealistic games to an extent.
You know, I am kind of following along when you bring one up. I'm rewatching just the highlights of the trailers, and I was not anti this one. This one looked quirky. I think this one would be kind of fun. I did enjoy the game Inside, and that was really good. And that's the kind of vibes I was.
Did you play
from
Limbo,
it.
or did you only play Inside?
No, I played both. both.
Okay.
Yeah.
How'd you like Limbo?
What was that?
How'd you like Limbo?
I like Limbo a lot, surprisingly, because usually, not my type of game. But, I fancy myself a smart man. So when you challenge me with puzzles, I will rise to the occasion every time. And I did like trying to figure out the sequences and stuff like that. So
I rage quit Limbo at the spider.
It's like,
It freaked me out.
I rage quit Limbo.
it was scary. It was.
Dude, I'm so arachnophobic. That was it for me. I got killed.
No.
And I was like, oh, this is a short game.
The worst part of both of them was the fucking blob monster at the end of Inside. Like, I've never been so viscerally uncomfortable as that blob thing that you become at the end of Inside.
The blob mechanics were on point, though. Like
the physics for that thing were weird.
They were on point. Like, I felt like disgusted holding the controller just in how the thing kind of shifted and moved with the weight of the.
I was like physically gagging, having to like, control this thing. No, I don't even want. I don't even think about it. It's gross.
Absolutely disgusting.
We had another nap section after that because NBA 2K21 came on.
And
Oh,
I wish we had Curtis here for this one,
I was
but
about to say.
honestly, we don't even need his take because they didn't show us anything besides the sweat physics.
Yeah.
That was the
Because
sweatiest
it's the
human
same
being.
fucking game. They don't have to show you anything. You know what you're getting. It's
No.
a reskin of NBA 2K20, which is a reskin of NBA 2K19.
No. This is where you're wrong. And I told you many, many times you would enjoy the NBA story mode
I
franchise.
promise you I would not.
They have really good storylines with like legitimate actors. Like I think Rosario Dawson was in the last one. Like, and there's decision making. Like it's intense. The story modes for NBA, I fuck with that. And
I don't want to see Basketball Drama Simulator 2K20.
it's
I don't
so
need that.
a good story is a good story, Emma. Whether it's superheroes in Marvel or super athletes in NBA 2K, I wanted to see more. Anything from the story would have been cool. Even like a cool track with a couple actors, like flash up who's going to be in this one, and I would have been a little more excited. They fucked up this last 2K game so bad though that this was just more disappointment. Like you're right in one respect. The game's always going to be the game, but the little thing that makes it different is the creative character and the decision, the stories and stuff. And we didn't get nothing. It was just sweat. That's all this one was, sweat.
Does anybody really care though? Like, in the grand scheme of things?
People care.
I mean, people care about the game, but do people care about the story mode? Like, is that what people are gravitating towards?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh.
It's pretty involved. It's not just like these like note cards that happen between games.
Yeah.
Whatever you say. If you're happy, you're happy.
Yep.
So this is going to be a stretch goal for your next charity stream, right, Emma?
No. It's boring. Bug Snacks. Also not a Cory game.
Definitely not.
Not a Cory game. I thought it was so cute. I was like, you can play as a strawberry. And then they ate the strawberry. And I was devastated. There was like their little Steve Irwin knockoff character, cute. It's a game from the creators of Octodad. It's one of your like Animal Crossing type of cute island anthropomorphic fruit food things. I don't know. It's weird and cute.
Knowing it's from the developers of Octodad gives me confidence that I'll have fun playing it.
It'll be funny. It'll be silly.
This was a game that really benefited from the somber tone of literally every other game. It was so out there and wacky and different that if, while most of these other games, Returnal, that's the only one whose name is stupid enough I remember, that all blend together to be like one game. Then you have this game, Bugsnax. You're like going to remember Bugsnax, and you're going to remember Spider-Man because everybody knows and it stuck out and was good. So great marketing. They really slid in there. This game will probably be, okay, but I saw a lot more people. I saw tweets like at midnight that night saying, I'm just up thinking about Bugsnax, and just for no reason, this game just left a mark on people.
Well, if you want a change in tone, they definitely gave you one here. They went from Bugsnax to Demon Souls.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, Emma's favorite.
No, I'm not touching this thing with a 10-foot pole. I remember, it came up and it didn't say it was from software, so I wasn't prepared for what it was going to be. And I was looking at it, I was like, ew, this looks like Dark Souls, gross. And then the title comes up and it says Demon Souls, and I don't know what that is. I've never heard of that. So I was like, it looks like Dark Souls, and it's got souls in the name. Are they going to get sued? What the fuck is this? And it wasn't until hours later that somebody was like, it's a Dark Souls game.
Of course.
Oh, I want nothing to do with this. But apparently people are very excited about it.
I thought Shadow of the Colossus, when I first saw the trailer, then it was just a huge letdown once it became clear exactly what it is.
Oh, man. That's the one game. If I could pick one game to be on the PS5 and no other games ever to be released on the PS5, it would be Shadow of the Colossus.
And we were this close.
Oh, wow. So you're a Dark Souls guy, Taylor. Are you excited for Demon Souls?
I'm actually not a Dark Souls guy. I just really enjoy watching you rage about it.
I hate you so much.
And I mean, you might know that, like, typically when I donate to your charity streams, we're in that part of the charity stream, like Dark Souls games.
God damn it. Well, fuck y'all. This game looks terrible and I hate it and I don't want nothing to do with it. And then we got the most important thing. I feel like sometimes there are moments in these things that, like, you're kind of, there's rumors that you're going to see something and you're excited, like, oh, that's that thing. And then there's ones that are totally out of the realm of possibility in your mind, like Oddworld, where you just didn't ever see it coming and, like, it's a complete shock. So when they brought out Deathloop, I've been thirsting for anything about this game for the last year plus since they announced that it existed. And when E3 got canceled and there was going to be no, like, Bethesda presentation or no Arcane presentation, I was like, fuck, I'm not going to know shit about this game for another year or whenever they start to put that stuff out. I did not expect to see Deathloop in this presentation, and I lost my fucking mind.
I didn't really have this on the radar, but immediately shot up to, like, my second favorite thing for the whole entire presentation.
It's so clean and it looks so far in development. Like, again, like they showed a really fucking cool cinematic last time when they announced it, and this time we got, like, a good amount of gameplay. And it looks so good.
Both characters are persons of color.
They are. Yeah, you have the male option, the female option. They're both black, and it wasn't immediately clear from the cinematic last time that both were going to be playable. There was kind of a hope for it. And in this one, they kind of tease you at the end of the trailer that the female character, Juliana, I think was her name, is playable as well as Cole, who is the main focus of most of it, which makes a lot of sense because Arcane's last two games, Dishonored 2 and Prey, had an option to play as a male character or a female character. So the fact that they're going to continue to do stuff like that, as soon as I was like, a female playable character, I'm in. I want her story. But what's interesting to me about this is that Cole and Juliana clearly have very different stories. Like in both Dishonored 2 and in Prey, your male or female option, you're playing essentially the same story. It's a little bit different in Dishonored 2. Corvo and Emily's stories are slightly different, but you follow generally the same path. And in Prey, it's the only thing that changes is your voice actor. Like the name is the same, everything about it is the same. It just the voice is what changes because it's first person, so it's not even like you're looking at your character. But for Deathloop, it seems like Juliana and Cole have completely different stories and have directly opposing stories. So is it like two games? Like are they two completely different experiences?
My takeaway was that, and this is kind of concerning for the game itself, was that it didn't look like a $60 full campaign game. It seemed like a game that you play for the variants that can take place, not necessarily like the story. And maybe if you go through different paths, you'll learn different things about the world. But I don't expect there to be cutscenes and levels as much as it's just like one open environment with like one key objective, and the replayability comes with that other player and the different techniques that they use to like stop you. Because it seems like
get that at all.
I thought it was a PvP game. I didn't even. It looks like there's some sort of story, but when I looked at it, I saw PvP in this.
Well, and if you look at that company's other games, that wouldn't fit. Like Dishonored and Prey are heavily story-based narrative games. Even Arx Fatalis, going all the way back, is a heavy 30-40 hour campaign story narrative game. So and I'm also remembering the cinematic trailer from the very first release. Like there's clearly a story here, and I would assume that takes precedence over, like, I can see it kind of feeling repetitive almost, because the whole point of the game is repetition. It's that live, die, repeat. But there's clearly that story there where like every time you die, you have to get more information about who these people are.
Yeah.
I don't know. The gameplay looks very, very good. It looks very Dishonored. It looks very Prey. It looks very even BioShocky as far as like the kind of level design. This studio can do no wrong in my eyes right now. I'm so obsessed with them. I'm in love with Arcane. Like I'm biased. I love them.
I want to play this one just because it got the competitive juices flowing. Like it seems like it was a first person. It just seemed fun. First of all, like the abilities, the graphics, everything was clean, and I just got that itch of like, oh man, which one of my friends, do I want a body in this, or do I think would give me a good fight, or like I started going through the Rolodex of all the people I wanted to play against in this game. So it jumped on the radar out of nowhere, and I'm excited because I've never played any. You've talked about this developer a lot, and I haven't got to experience any of their games yet. So I'm very excited for this one. I hope it's not a PlayStation exclusive. I want to see this one on PC.
I doubt. No, I think it'll definitely be both PlayStation and Xbox, and I imagine it'll be PC as well, because they've never had one that's exclusive to PlayStation or Xbox. I mean, if you just count Dishonored and Prey. Arx Fatalis was a PC game just because that's all that there was. They had.
I believe it's a timed exclusive for the PS5 and also being released on PC later.
If they make this one crossplay, it's on like Donkey Kong, I swear.
PC Master
But
Race.
you're assuming that there even is a multiplayer aspect, because none of their other games have multiplayer.
There is. The way
one
that you play as Juliana is in multiplayer.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Can you send me? I need all the information on this game, and I haven't seen any information about her.
I just use. I have no information. I use context clues. It very much seemed like it's two players with counter that each have different objectives.
When we were talking in the pre-show about their old game that got canceled, that Crossing, and I was wondering if it was going to be that kind of a concept that they've held on to since then, where somebody can enter your game as your nemesis.
Yes.
And sabotage you.
That is what it is.
Because I fucking want this game. I just want it right now. But again, like most things, there wasn't even a year. There was nothing regarding a timeline or a date or anything. And I was mad the whole time. Like, not one of these things had a date.
So, as per IGN.com, yes, it's multiplayer. As Colt, you can play through missions as you would in Arcane's other games, such as Dishonored, but a player controlling Juliana may temporarily turn up in your game to attempt to stop you in your tracks.
What?
Yes.
I'm learning this live, everybody.
That's perfect for trolls, because people who just like to troll people.
Juliana Main.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's got to be a feature that you can turn off as well. Like, you've got to be able to play the game without that.
Coward.
Of course.
I don't want people coming in my game. If that's the thing, it would be one of the things where I play the game. The first time I play through the game, I'm turning that feature off.
Coward.
When I replay it, I'll turn it on.
That's exactly. It sounds like what happened to Fallout 76 when everybody was mad that like people were at the beginning of it before they had the edits and everything, where you could just basically do anything to everybody's like different groups and stuff like that in the game.
So much happened to Fallout 76.
Oh, there's a lot. So this says PlayStation says that making its console debut on PS5 this holiday. Is this gonna be a fucking launch title?
That's a good launch title.
Oh my god, I was like getting it in like 6 months. Oh my god, I'm learning all of this right now where fuck the podcast. I'm just reading about Deathloop right now.
And for the snowflakes out there, you can turn it to AI controlled so you can play by yourself if you're intimidated.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do.
Why?
I'm gonna my first playthrough, I'm gonna play it by myself, and then when my subsequent playthroughs, I'll turn it on and play with other people.
Here's my logic to why you shouldn't do that, Emma. And this is one thing that you do that I respect, is that when you play games, typically you play them on the hardest difficulty. Is that correct?
Sometimes. Most of the time now. That's a newer thing that I do.
Yeah, and it's awesome. And there's no more difficult than another human being. Or like that, leaving it up to that chance. Like, you could get in with some god gamer like myself. Like, what if you queued into me? That's the hardest mode you could be playing on this game. So if you're really going to play true to it, you would turn on the player controlled one.
I hear what you're saying, and I do not care.
I'd love to see an option to only allow friends to join.
That, yeah. If that was a thing, that'd be even better.
Like, I'm kind of an asshole in PvP games. Well, not kind of. I definitely am. And so, like, I would love to just log in and be like, oh, Emma's playing.
I fucking would, too.
You know it's not the computer and it's Taylor because he keeps teabagging every time he getting
I do not teabag, and I haven't since Halo 2.
Proud of you.
I am a changed and reformed man.
It's not teabagging anymore. It's tactical crouch.
Oh, wow.
Right. I was just trying to get a closer look at your face.
People.
Oh my god.
I'm very excited. I was very pleased to see Deathloop in there, and that just goes to show, very similarly to the Spider-Man thing, like, none of that information was in that announcement. Yeah. None of that was in there. Like, what the fuck? Why did I know any of that until just now?
It could have been really helpful.
It could have been an exclusive announcement, just like back in the day when we just had magazines, you know?
Yeah. Well, and like, they don't do the thing that Xbox does, which like we all kind of make fun of them for, because it seems like before every fucking trailer, it's like Xbox exclusive. Not PlayStation doesn't do that. So somebody asked me later, they were like, how many of these were exclusives? And I was like, I have no fucking idea. Yeah. I don't know. How the fuck do I know? They didn't say anything. So after Deathloop, we got another one so Resident Evil Village. So Village is, I was very interested in this game until I found out it was a Resident Evil game. This trailer was really good. It was a really cool trailer. And I was really intrigued. I was very curious about where it was going. And then it gets to the end and it's called Village. And I was like, ooh, interesting, intriguing title. All right, M. Night Shyamalan, whatever. And then it like fades out and shows you that Resident Evil 8. And I was like, oh, okay then. I guess I don't really care anymore.
So you just judged a game by its title?
I did. I judged it by its franchise. And one of my friends is like a big Resident Evil guy, and he was asking me why that would throw me off, because he loves Resident Evil. And it was like, I went from seeing a game that I thought was a new IP with a new story and like an original kind of play style and whatever it was going to be, to realizing that it's the 8th installment in a franchise I am pretty indifferent to and don't play. And I was like, oh, well, I can't just jump into 8. So I guess this game is not for me. And I went from super interested to like, we'll see. Are you guys excited for this?
I didn't play 7, Resident Evil 7. So this looked like a fresh Resident Evil to me. Like, yeah, it played faster, which I much prefer. So it looked like a more fun Resident Evil games. So this might be a Resident Evil game for me.
The only one that I've played is 7. And even if they had left it kind of at that point where like they say it's Resident Evil, I might have been okay. But then it cuts to a character named Chris, who obviously you're supposed to know if you play Resident Evil, and it's like a very shocking moment. And I was like, I don't know who the fuck this is. So this trailer just lost me.
You don't know who Chris Redfield is?
I've never played. The only Resident Evil I've ever played is 7. I know the name Claire, and I know the name Redfield, and I know. Is there a J name in there?
Jay, Emma.
Valentine. Jill Valentine. Is that Resident Evil?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Yes, that's it. That's the extent of my Resident Evil knowledge.
Wow.
Mm.
I
It's
saw.
just a franchise that I missed out on. Like, it's just, I kind of just missed the boat. And when you get to the point where there's 7 or 8 games, like, how do you jump on that boat?
It's, I don't know, maybe it's the way your brain works where you have to know everything all the time. But me, I'm an idiot. So I can just jump into something pretty stupid and not care. I think I played 1, I played 2, I played 5, and I've played little bits and pieces. I think I played Raccoon City. Like, I've seen like half the movies backwards, not in sequence. I just know it's zombies and killing things and shooting stuff, and it's Capcom, and it's just going to be fun. So I wouldn't let, especially a Capcom game and Resident Evil's continuity intimidate you. If you played Death Stranding and really enjoyed it, like, this is easy for you. Like, just
New IP, new stories. We were all going in blank.
yeah, just
There's
pretend
not
it's
gonna be
that.
anything in there that I didn't know.
Just pretend it's called Village,
Wow.
and then enjoy it.
It looked super cool before that. The one thing that killed me about this is there's a point where like it's first person and the guy is like reaching around a curtain and he throws it open and there's a guy in there with a shotgun and he shoots and you're like, oh, it's friendly. But in the video, he clearly just shot you in the face. Like, there's no way he missed.
It could have been birdshot. I mean, Dick Cheney did it and the guy survived.
But there's no reaction. There's no reaction. I have logistical questions about this old man who just shot you in the face. And was it blank?
Didn't that happen
Was it
twice
blank?
in the trailer?
I think so.
Yeah, it happened like twice. I had that same thought. That was a little weird. But it's Resident Evil. And didn't you play that hillbilly one where you hit a guy with a car and shoot him in the face?
7 is the only one that I played. That car fight was terrible, by the way.
Yeah.
That boss fight was awful.
Totally bullet sponge like porn at that point. But it's Resident
That
Evil.
game is also the only VR game to ever make me actually vomit.
Oh, really? Did it? Were
The
you
Resident
playing in
Evil
VR?
7, I played it in VR,
Yeah.
and that was rough.
That'll happen.
Was that with the Vive or?
No, it was
He's
my
like, did you
PlayStation
puke
VR.
in my vibe?
I don't care.
No, it was on PSVR, and I remember I was streaming it, and it was like I'd never played something like that, and I did the thing where like I turned off the motion sickness controls because I was like, I'm not a weak ass bitch. I don't need no motion sickness controls, and then I promptly vomited, and it was like, oh, I'm a weak ass bitch, and I need motion sickness controls.
Nobody's a weak ass bitch until you try and play a VR game without the motion control. Yep.
Oh my god, I didn't understand the concept of teleporting in VR until that happened, and I was like,
Oh.
I get it
It's a
now.
beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah.
So we had Resident Evil Village. We had another one that I wasn't sure would be a Cory game or not, Pragmata,
I'm gonna
which
have to look
is
this
a
one up
very
here.
like Death Stranding-esque sort of like you don't know what the fuck is going on. Nothing makes sense, and that little girl's hair looks like shit.
I haven't seen hair that bad since.
How
The
are you going to
PS3?
put that as a launch exclusive on next gen, and you're going to let that hair in your showcase?
Yes. Looking at the trailer, awful, terrible game. Death Stranding 2, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Won't touch this with a 10-foot pole. You're absolutely right about those hair physics. It looked worse than like the WWE SmackDown games. If anybody remembers that, like that was bad hair. This was awful. And another sad space thing.
I don't know that it's sad. It's desolate, but I don't know that it's sad.
Sad space game.
It's very interesting. The thing with I don't even know what to call it. The like little net that he shoots out that's like the green netting that catches the satellite that's coming at him was super fucking cool. I was like, that's a concept I'm intrigued with. I didn't understand. It's one of those like, I watched it and I had no idea what was happening, and I love that.
Yeah. Hey, no, that's makes absolutely no sense.
But again, it's the first time we've seen it, so it's a cinematic. And my dog is barking, so you might hear that. It's our quarantine podcasting.
Yep.
Yeah, given that it's a cinematic is fine because it's the first time we've seen it. So if we get to like next year and they show us another weird cinematic, then I'm out. But you've got time.
I just need to do better hair, and then
Yeah.
and then I'll pay more attention.
Pragmat ass.
Oh my god, Cory. Okay, boomer.
And hang on, I'll close my door because my dog is going crazy. All right, sorry about that. And then so I said earlier that they really well bookended with two very big announcements. They started, I'm not counting Rockstar. They started with Spider-Man after their commercial break, and they ended with Horizon Zero Dawn 2, which I have never played Horizon Zero Dawn, and this game looks kick-ass.
What?
I haven't. I've had it since I got my PlayStation like 2 years ago, and I just haven't gotten around to playing it.
I can't judge. I haven't opened it. But I've watched people play through it, so I felt a little connection to it.
Wow.
Oh my god. But your reaction was like, oh my gosh, I played this. The best thing.
Has anybody here played it?
No.
Silence. Absolute silence.
These suck. It's like one of the most celebrated franchises on the PS4.
It is. It looks very good. We had yet another female protagonist. There was a lot. There was a lot. Shout out to fucking Sony for that.
And a ginger for that matter. Way to go get it, girl.
One ginger representation.
Yeah.
So I tried not to. I'm not looking too much into it because I don't want spoilers for the first game. So I'm kind of glossing over it because I don't want to know too much. But I will eventually get around to playing it. And then they hit us with what we had all been waiting for, what I had been waiting for the whole time. Every time there was a break and it looked like they were going to do something else, like they would have these kind of transitions where they would do these like graphic designs with the PlayStation logos. And I was like, this is it. They're going to show the console. And they fucking didn't.
Yeah.
And then they finally did. We finally got our look at it, and it's fucking hideous. I hate it.
Wait, you hate it?
I mean, imagine. I don't know if anybody's watched Yu-Gi-Oh, but you guys remember Seto Kaiba with
His
the blue-eyed
jacket.
dragons? That's him. Just keep that in mind. Never forget it.
I don't know what I expected, but I was worried when they put out the controller, which I also hated, that because the controller was white, that was a really good indicator that the fucking console was going to be white. And what do you know? It is.
I am in the camp of not liking white consoles. I don't think they have a place in this world unless you have all white furniture. Because the whole point, and this is what I loved about Xbox, especially when the Xbox One came out, like they didn't just make the console black. They chose a specific black that's supposed to like blend in where you never notice it. And that's the point, because usually it's underneath your TV and you want all the focus on what's happening up there. And when the console's too bright or the lights are flashing too much or it's making too much noise, it takes you out of that element. And this thing is showy as hell. Like I don't think it's super ugly. It's really freaking weird. Like,
I mean, a white console isn't unprecedented. The 360.
360.
No, but
Yeah.
The Dreamcast.
The Wii.
Yeah.
For most of these, I think a white launch is a little weirder because usually you launch with a black version, you have a limited edition white version later. For the most part, except for the Wii, but nobody gives a fuck about the Wii.
Yeah, I thought the other thing about this console is it just looks too futuristic. Like,
It's too much.
slow down.
Like if Xbox and PlayStation went total opposite ends of the spectrum, where like the Xbox is just this nothing box and it's black and it's just gonna sit there and you're not gonna notice it except for the fact that it's fucking tall, so I'm gonna have to put it on its side. And the PlayStation demands that you look at it constantly. It is gonna stick out like a sore thumb. It is gonna be an eyesore. Like I'm gonna have to hide this thing behind my TV or something. It's got that like white, or not the white. It's got this blue light that runs around the edge of it on the inside. That I'm really curious to see how bright that's gonna be.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that it's very, very dim.
that blue line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first problems that people had with the PlayStation 4 was how fucking bright the light on the controller was. And they eventually fixed it. They fixed that, so it's not nearly as bad as it was, but you still can't turn it off, which still bugs me. Just let me play in pitch blackness. Don't make me see anything. Let me hide myself.
If I'm not using the camera for like those motion controls, don't force me to have the damn light on.
Yeah, let me turn that shit off. And the fact that like they might launch this and it might be too bright and they're gonna have to patch it down the road, but like, why are we still doing? Who needs that light? Turn it off. Just let me hide it. It's not gonna fit with any of my consoles. And the weirdest thing to me is, what are the odds that both Sony and Microsoft hit us with a vertical console? Who asked for that?
If you notice, even the PlayStation one looks like an Alienware computer. That's what I compare it to. The look and feel is very futuristic, like an Alienware computer, basically.
I don't know. I assume that they're kind of going for like a tower feel. Like you want it there. You're kind of going toward like PC. You're getting closer and closer to PC specs, and they work better vertically. But like, who's storing their console under a desk where you can easily store a PC tower? I know you can store it horizontally, but it's the principle of it. I'm mad.
Is the Xbox able to lay down on its side?
Yeah.
Because I've seen promotional imagery of the PlayStation 5 laying on its side. The Xbox,
yeah, they've said that you can lay the Xbox down as well. It can be stored horizontally.
I feel like I would just be embarrassed to have that PlayStation under my TV, like when my in-laws come over or anything. And I feel like the console has to fit the time. That's way too advanced. Like, it's a PlayStation. You know, if you ever watch, you know, like Live PD or Cops or something, there's always...
Not anymore.
Oh, yeah, well, they discontinue those TV shows. But, you know, in every meth house that they bust down, there's always someone in the house playing GTA 5. And I can't see a meth lab trailer with this console sitting next to the TV. It just doesn't fit the aesthetic of 2020 right now.
Oh my god.
We're not ready.
I get what they're going for. Like they want it to stand out. Like they don't want it to be something that you're going to overlook. They want it to be a statement piece. Like that's the point. I don't like that.
No. I think the controller's ugly. I think the console's ugly. This was they released two different models too, right? One has a disc drive. Was there any, and one's all digital? Did they put out any prices on this thing either?
Nope. Neither Xbox nor PlayStation has put out a price point or a solid release date. They both just say holiday 2020. So we're all just guessing. Which 6 months out from release seems ridiculous. Tell me how much money I need to save. I need to know this.
Exactly. So based off what you saw, the games that you saw, the futuristic look, what are you prepared to shell out for this thing? What would be the price where you're like, oh, well, I guess I'm not playing the PlayStation 5?
If it's $600, I don't think I can do it.
$600 is the cap.
I think $550 is probably going to be where I max out. I say that now, but like if it came out with $600, I might have to fucking buy it. Like I don't know, and it depends on the kind of, like, I'm willing to spend more. Like we said earlier, like I'd be willing to spend a little bit more for a Spider-Man edition, or if Deathloop is going to be a Deathloop edition, something that doesn't look like this. If there's a special edition that doesn't look like this white atrocious monstrosity, like I'll shell out a little bit more for that, which then would come with the game. So I don't know. I'm kind of assuming that the Xbox 360 launched at $500, the Xbox One launched at $500, the Xbox One X launched at $500. I'm assuming these are going to launch $500-ish. I don't know if like maybe the disc version of the PS5 is going to be $550 and then the digital version will be $500. You got to imagine they're going to be different price points. I do commend PlayStation on putting them out at the same time, that they're launching both of them. Because I imagine what Xbox is going to do is what they've done with the Series X, or with the Xbox One X. Their names kill me. What they've done with the Xbox One X, where there is a digital edition, but they put it out later, like much later, for a lower price so that it wouldn't infringe on sales for the higher price item. So, like, good on Sony for putting them both out at the same time and not worrying about the fact that maybe it'll draw sales from the more expensive version.
My God, the Xbox One Series X thing laying on its side.
Did you see what I just put in the Discord?
That is massive.
I pulled that off a Forbes article, so I'm assuming that's real. It is it's a unit. It's a big boy.
And I'm seeing a lot of comparisons of like the power of the Xbox being stronger than the PlayStation 5. But when it's that huge, when it's the size of a microwave, it better be. Good Lord.
So I think that's next to, I think it's in the picture that we're looking at for the audio podcast, or for anybody watching, because you guys can't see what we're looking at. This is great. We're looking at a picture of the Xbox One X, Series X. Fuck, I'm never going to get used to that. The Xbox Series X laying horizontally put next to an Xbox One X, the slimmest version of it, it looks like. I still have the fat boy Xbox One, so I still can't, like, I don't know what that looks like.
It's about I bet you, because I had that one.
It's like a controller and a half high.
Yeah, that one is going to, this Xbox One Series X thing is 3 of the current Xboxes stacked on top of each other. Easy.
The slim one.
Yeah, the slim. And the old one, I bet it's at least 2 stacked on top of each other.
Probably.
That's way too big. I don't know. The price point that you set for the PS5, Emma, does that cross over to the new Xbox as well? Or?
Yeah, I'm assuming they're going to be roughly the same price. So if they're both, because I wasn't planning on buying the PS5 at launch, and then they hit me with the Miles thing, and now they hit me with Deathloop being launched. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm getting a fucking PS5 at launch. So if I'm planning on getting both, I really can't spend more than $500 on a console.
This is the thing. Xbox looks like we can't even be mad at them. They're creating Xbox literally.
Not as literal as the first pictures we got of the original Xbox.
Oh my god. What I am happy about, like, we're talking so much shit about this PlayStation and how it looks, but I'm really happy that it's not the dev kit, because that thing was atrocious. The thing that had like the little pizza slot in it. I was like, as long as it doesn't look like that, I'm fine. And then they were like, bet, okay, be fine with this.
I was surprised that they went out of their way to fully design a dev kit. Like, that is not a very Sony thing.
It was weird.
Usually it's just a huge box and it's ugly.
So Kitty put a comparison of these consoles in the Discord, so you can kind of see the PS5 is monstrously tall. I'm assuming, I'm kind of going off like this is probably correct-ish. But yeah, this thing is massive. Why is it so tall? Where am I going to put this? Where am I going to put this?
It is a unit. It's bigger than the original PS3 by like a lot.
Yeah.
These things are PCs. Open your eyes, people. Realize they're PCs. Just build a PC. Just build a PC, everybody. You'll be much happier in the long run.
I still want these.
Way more expensive to build a PC.
Yes. I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook about that, and they were basically getting all uppity about how, like, well, if you really cared about any of this, if you really knew anything, then nobody would buy consoles. And I was like, you don't understand that console gaming is about convenience and price.
They're not
I'm not paying $1,000+ to build a PC and then hundreds of dollars in peripherals and software when I could just spend $500 on a box and a controller that plugs into my TV and works.
Do you have a PS4?
Yes.
Do you have, and you're about to buy a PS5? Do you have an Xbox One X or one
yes,
Xbox One? And you're about to buy this. Yep. I'm on.
Do you know how old those are?
I bet you. How long? How old?
20.
My Xbox is 7 years old.
Okay. I've had my PC without upgrades about that long. Now, when you add up all the consoles you've bought, even 2 of them, even let's just say isolate Xboxes, you've probably spent as much, if not more, than I built this PC with.
It's also inherently easier for me to use, and it just works. I don't have to troubleshoot it for much.
Well, because you didn't build it properly or maintain it. You gotta get in there with that can of air. You know, you gotta run a debug every once in a while. Run a macro on your.
See, I don't gotta do that on my Xbox. It just works.
Yeah, for a finite amount of time.
Like console gaming is about convenience and ease of use, which is fine.
To which
I'm fine with that.
You're losing those features are going away as time progresses. Look how big these goddamn things are. There's nothing convenient.
That doesn't make it any harder for me to use.
You're gonna throw out your back trying to lift it up.
So like 10 years from now, you're gonna say the Xbox PC, and that's what it's gonna be, or the PlayStation PC.
And maybe it is. That's totally fine.
It's just
But
like
I'm riding this for as long as I can. I like it. I enjoy the ease of use. I enjoy the convenience. It's my entire entertainment system. That's what I'm bummed about losing, is that the Xbox Series X is losing the pass-through, so I'm not going to be able to use it as my hub for everything, which is a bummer because that's what it is right now.
yeah.
Would you be able to use the new PlayStation, I guess, as the new hub?
I actually don't know because the PS4 doesn't have pass-through, so I don't know if the PS5 does.
I'd very unlikely. I think I'll still get one of these consoles. I guess maybe we close out that way because we made our opinions felt on how ugly both of them are. Or all of us here are probably still going to end up buying both of them eventually. But if you had to buy one, if we went back to the old days where you stuck to one console, based off of what you've seen so far, Emmaskies, would you get the Xbox One Series X or the PlayStation 5, and why?
I get the Series X. I've always been a PlayStation player. It's PlayStation. I've always been an Xbox player. I went from the PS1 to the Xbox original, and then I just stuck with that. And PlayStation's always kind of been that, I get the Xbox at launch, and then I get the PlayStation when I decide to. Like, oh, there's some good games on it. It's gone down in price. I'd get the Xbox. It's just a personal preference thing. At this point, console wars are dumb. Just get the games that you want.
100%. Taylor, what are you thinking? Between these two, what's the X factor?
Easy Xbox. Easy decision. The ecosystem has always been better. My PC has Sea of Thieves, and it runs much better.
That's what I'm saying, my man.
But no, like the ecosystem for Xbox has been superior in my opinion since the 360, which is when it started to matter. And so they've always been a leader in like content delivery and things like that. Plus the controllers have always felt better. I do really like the PS4 controller, significantly more than the PS3 controller, but like nothing tops the Xbox controller for me.
How do you feel about the PS5 controller now that they've like hit their stride with that PS4 controller that you love and they're totally changing it?
I don't know. We'll see when it's in my hands. I'm really interested in like all of the really technical details of it, like the haptic feedback on the trigger.
That's what I'm excited for. Especially when you play something like Horizon and you have a bow and it like change. I'm very excited for that.
Right. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Lexie, from what you've seen and heard, what are you going, Xbox or PlayStation?
Xbox 100%. I've always had a Xbox. I did have the original PlayStation and the PlayStation 2. And I love PlayStation, but with Emma, like one of those things I'll buy like after it's been out a while. Everybody's tested the waters. Plus on Xbox, you can talk to your friends. And I like that aspect, especially when I played like fighting games. So
Are we going to get a unanimous Xbox podcast?
I don't think so.
Cory's going to be the detractor just because.
I think I have to detract only.
Yeah,
and this is,
just because.
No. I have a very valid reason.
Uh-huh.
Xbox is my heart. I love Xbox and Master Chief, the new Halo's coming out. And that alone, as far as like single game that I would buy a console for. But Microsoft is almost shooting itself. Xbox is almost shooting itself in the foot a little bit with how great they've made crossplay and eliminated the need to upgrade. Because I bought the new Xbox Series X or whatever, the
Xbox One X.
Yeah, the One X, the thin one. That's really good. It's smooth. And the fact that all these games they've already said are going to be backwards compatible. And I don't have a TV. I have a 4K TV, but it's not going to be getting 122 frames anyways. So I'm pretty confident that all the games that are going to be coming out on the Xbox are going to look just fine on my Xbox. And like I said, they've done such a good job with their PC crossplay that if it comes out like most of their games play anywhere, I'll just run them on my PC anyways. So if I'm spending the $600 and I already have all the hardware that'll run all the Xbox games, and PlayStation's going to hold out on me and make me pay $600 to play Spider-Man and, the Bugs Fruit or whatever, just on a technicality, I might have to go PlayStation. Just on a technicality.
That's fair. I actually really appreciate what Xbox is doing with their like commitment. They're like totally committed to backwards compatibility. and their smart delivery system, where if you buy a game on your Xbox One X and down the line you upgrade to a Series X, you don't have to rebuy the game for Series X. You have it.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're very committed to making sure that it seems almost like they're committed to making sure that if you want to upgrade, you can, and there are a ton of reasons, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. You're not forced to. Meanwhile, PlayStation is still like eons behind in backwards compatibility, and they don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
They could care less if you could play your old games on their new console.
I hope Xbox gets the rewards of, honestly, I guess, talking about the next gen, I think it's safe to say at this point, PlayStation outperformed the Xbox One overall. The PS4, I think, might have outsold it 2-1 or some crazy number like that. So PlayStation won the last console war. Actually, if you want to say there was a winner, probably Nintendo Switch, honestly. But still, so Xbox is making changes to, like you said, content delivery. And I think one thing that was missing from the PlayStation thing, and I think because as a company they're weak there, is the cloud processing and things like, because pretty soon, we've talked about on the show, we're not going to need these big old honking machines as long as you have a fast internet connection. Stadia, for its big flop, is kind of the cutting edge of, I think, what we're going to be looking at in the future of gaming. So I don't know how many more consoles there are, and Xbox being smart and selling, the Games Pass and making that the value crux, and then doing PC Games Pass is hopefully the long game here. So I don't know. What do you think, Taylor? You're the technology guy. Talk to us, just briefly summarize what you think is the future of gaming and who's going to win this thing.
I think Microsoft's going to win it. They've led technology for so long. Not just in the consoles, but also in PC. Two huge ecosystems. And even though they do sell millions and millions of consoles and whatnot, like, people already have computers. And so they have a lower barrier of entry to get people into their ecosystem. So somebody who has a gaming computer now, buying a bunch of games, paying for that Game Pass, whatever it is, which I think is amazing, by the way. I have it. And
yeah.
The games that I play on it, I already owned. But I genuinely believe that Microsoft will win out because it's so much easier to get people into their ecosystem.
The hardware is phasing itself out, and it's going to be dependent on the software and the convenience of it all. And I think Microsoft's putting itself in a very smart spot. Emmaskies, thank you so much for running the PS5 portion of the show. You did an amazing job. I know we have our differences, but I think we both win because they had a little bit of something for everybody. So thank you, and let people know what happened for your Oblivion charity streams. Give us an update.
Oh yeah, we were able to donate $600 to Oblivion Comics and Coffee, which is very. I'm really glad we could do that.
PogChamp.
That
was it? There's no more?
Don't ever say that to me again.
They hit their goal. Are they opening back up here pretty soon?
They are open. They're open for takeout.
Delivery, curbside.
Yeah, so they've got they're around. They've turned all of the boards into murals, which look really, really great. If you've seen them on social media, they look really, really good.
Yeah, they did a great job with that. Shout out to them. Can't wait to see them get back to full strength. And then any streams coming up this week? What's on the plate?
Generally, I stream at 4 p.m., but I don't know. Days are meaningless, and I keep losing track of where I am, so who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I know how that goes. Lexie, I mean, you came on like a flicker of brilliance when you started streaming some League, and then you left the world wanting more. What happened? Where are the streams at? When are they coming back?
So this weekend, I'm actually reconstructing my laptop. I got a 2 terabyte hard drive.
Okay.
Save everything that's on it so I can basically reset it, because I think that might help with the slowness as well. So after I figure that out, we'll see. I'm also with Emma. It's just the days are running in together. Just keeping up your spirits around this time. So we'll see. I'll let everybody know.
Taylor, thanks for joining us. My friend, what is going on in your world? What do you plug in?
Oh man, I don't really have anything to plug. Usually I do though. Usually something really,
You're
really
disappointing me, man.
But not this time. But almost definitely the next time I have something. So
I'm right there with you. Nothing to plug, but good vibes.
Yeah. Just enjoying life and trying to keep myself entertained as a extrovert in quarantine. This has been quite an adventure.
I feel that.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. If you listen to the show week in, week out on various podcasting services, you can watch us live on twitch.tv/videogame_bang. And transversely, if you are in the stream right now and you want to hear more, you can check out our backlog of episodes anywhere you can find podcasts: Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Big Bang, anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find this show. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. For Emmaskies, Taylor, and Lexie, my name is Cory saying, you've just been banged.